Our top focus right now is the Parali crisis. It's not a pollution crisis, viewers. It's a Parali crisis. And once again, the courts are speaking up. The Supreme Court today has called the pollution situation in the national capital the murder of people's health. It has pulled up governments of various states over the traumatic air pollution crisis in the national capital. The Supreme Court has said that stubble burning needs to stop today in Punjab, Haryana and western UP. As an interim solution, the court has directed that the local station house officer be made responsible for addressing stubble burning incidents. As per reports, stubble burning in Punjab has increased by 700% compared to last year. The court says that we've been saying every year it can't always be a political battle. Why is Delhi then made to suffer year after year? During our meeting today, you will not believe it, I asked my colleagues, is the AQI really bad? And they replied saying, no, it's actually really good today, it's in the 300 range. Imagine, an AQI of over 300 is considered a blessing by Delhiites. I met another colleague of mine who said his friend in Georgia sent him a screenshot of the AQI there. It was 2. Both of us were then left wondering, why are we still suffering in Delhi? He asked me, do we really deserve this? Well, absolutely not. But people living in Delhi have normalized air pollution, it seems. We've completely given up on demanding accountability and action, and we've sacrificed what are supposed to be the best months of the year in Delhi to air pollution. The courts have spoken up like they do every year, but what about the rest of us? Nobody is talking about pollution like it's not seriously impacting our health in the past 10 days. Every second person, at least around me, is coughing. We're all locked up in our homes because we can't step out to even go for a walk. Imagine exercising right now is more harmful than sitting at home. Our children can't go to school, they can't meet their friends, they simply cannot be kids. Why are all of us sitting and watching this tamasha unfold all around us as the politicians continue to fool us? Who, if not us, will hold the political parties accountable? I take this discussion forward. I have with me Justice Birendra Prasad Verma, former judge of Patna High Court, Advocate Neona Gupta, BJP spokesperson with us, Abhi Nandita Mathur, AAP spokesperson with us, Dr. Abid Amin, internal medicine at Ujala Cygnus Hospital with us as well, and Sanjanath Singh, Secretary of All India Farmers Association with us as well. Let me begin this conversation with the Aam Aadmi Party. Let me begin with, like I said, the Aam Aadmi Party. Let me bring in Abhinandita Mathur into the conversation. Abhinandita Mathur, a few days ago, a colleague of yours from the Aam Aadmi Party told me that farm fires have reduced in Punjab to almost half. But the data in the reports actually says otherwise. It says that Punjab is still responsible for 65% of the farm fires. Why exactly are we being lied to?
Hi, good evening. First, I will say it right at the beginning that I'm not going to do any politicking and will earnestly answer your questions. This is not a crisis that is merely political. It is a crisis that is environmental. It is a crisis that concerns every person in North India. It's not just a Delhi problem, it's a regional problem. To answer your question, one thing that I must correct in your report is that if you go through the report and the percentage increase that you have spelled out is actually inaccurate, because over the years, if you see, year-wise, you see the stubble burning rates in Punjab have actually reduced this year by 50 to 60%.
Okay, but where's the data? That's what I'm saying, right? Some report is saying 700% increase. You are all claiming that it's decreased. Where is the data? And how do we believe? Whose data are we supposed to believe? Because honestly, I see visuals coming out of Punjab every day. I still see...
Let me clarify. The 700% or whatever, some exponent number that you have mentioned is from the time the stubble burn starts to now. Okay? Within this within this year. That is how it expedites. So just wanted to point that out. As far as annually, how whether it's increasing or decreasing, this year it has increased, and I think there are no parallel reports about it. I think most reports are state the similar figures. But to answer your question, you are absolutely right. Unless and until we provide an alternative to the farmers, until and unless we collectively take responsibility of actually moving towards a solution, whether it is parali burning, whether it is taking regular measures to control the air pollution all through the year, there are many factors that are going to, lead us to get past this problem. And until then, we must understand that it cannot be done by one party or one government. It is a collective call of
Abhinanda Mathur.
Please understand.
Okay, when the Aam Aadmi Party was not in power in Punjab, they said this is not our problem, we can't do anything, the government of Punjab does not cooperate with us, Congress doesn't cooperate, BJP doesn't cooperate, therefore it's happening. Now it's your government.
Let me say this again. I would really not like to make this question political, but since you do bring this up, I must say that what the Aam Aadmi Party said or did not say, what ex-government said or did not say, does not matter. What matters is what we have in front of us today and what are we planning to do about it today to save our tomorrow. So I think that is the approach with this.
Okay, so what are you planning to do?
We'll have to look.
The Supreme Court has clearly said the farm fires need to stop today. Okay, which means that tomorrow there will be no farm fires.
We respect that, and I have not read the full report of the courts today, but I don't know whether or not they have actually spelled out how they expect the governments to stop them overnight.
The Supreme Court has also said it's not our problem. This is not the job of the court to spell out what to do.
Absolutely.
The government is brought into power for these things.
I will be really honest and realistic on your show. I think we owe this to our audience, to our people, that it's not something that can be done overnight. It is a serious problem. We are trying our best to find a solution that actually satisfies, involves all the stakeholders as far as parali is concerned, like we have tried to do in Punjab, which is to give them some incentive, which is to actually involve, make the Kisan Mitras who are on the field. It is something that is going to take some time in terms of a cultural shift. It is an occupational hazard as far as the farmers are concerned. So unlike, for example, Haryana, where farmers are arrested or FIRs are made against them if they burn stubble, here with the Punjab farmers, what we are trying to do is actually work in collaboration. Look, you have to see it as a long-term and short-term problem. I'm not running away at all from the responsibility that is ours and that we must take. We do, but in the same breath, I think we also need to consider a few things. One, what are the steps that are being taken by each of these governments throughout the year to curb, and we must count all of them then, right? Number two, what are the primary factors of pollution in the city, in Delhi and in the North India region? Number three, what is it that we see in terms of from a disaster management approach? What are the efforts that are being done by the union?
But we don't see pollution through the course of the year. We only see pollution in October and November, which just happen to be actually the best months for Delhi.
No, actually,
it's a wonderful time to be in Delhi in October and November.
We all miss it. And, there is no debate about that. One thing that I should point out, since you bring up, working through the year, whether there is pollution or not, this year, after a long time, Delhi had 200 clean, good air days, which did not happen for the last few years. But
they also go down the drain because I'm made to suffer for 2 to 3 weeks at a stretch. So the whole year I'm a good person. Okay, the whole year I'm a good person. I'm a good, healthy person. I take care of myself. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do anything. I really want to take care of myself. But then I'm here in October and November in Delhi, and all my efforts go down the drain because I'm sick. I don't deserve to be sick.
Well, it's not about you and me. It's not about individuals and persons. I know what you're saying. I get the feel with which you're saying this. I understand the plight of everybody who is choking in North India today. There is no taking away from that. But please understand what I'm trying to say, which simply is that we must see what is being done throughout the year, both in terms of short-term and long-term efforts to reduce the factors that cause pollution, including parali. All right, that is one. Number two, what is the coordination between all the states to solve this problem? And number three, where do we stand today? What are the measures that the governments are undertaking to ensure? Is there any evidence that, okay, today we are taking these steps, it has reduced, but it is not good enough? And here we stand, for example, on behalf of the Punjab government, I can say that here we stand today, promising that we will reduce it as we have from the last year till now. There is really nothing more that can be done overnight, not running away from responsibility. But please, let's make a constructive argument out of this. And there is one thing that I would really request you to ask. Please ask the BJP spokesperson as well. What are the steps that the UP and the Haryana government...
I was coming to that in just a moment. I'm coming to that. Advocate Neona Gupta, bring you into the conversation. As has been pointed out by...
My name is Gupta.
Neona. Pardon me.
Neoma.
We'll just have that corrected, ma'am. My apologies.
Not at all. That's fine.
Farm fires in Haryana and Uttar Pradesh are also not zero. In fact, as per some reports, Madhya Pradesh also contributes. Your government is in power in all of these three states. What exactly is the BJP doing?
So there are a lot of steps being taken vis-a-vis these. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm sorry because I'm in the car.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, vis-a-vis stubble burning, and there are a lot of challans which have been issued and strict action is being taken. As Ms. Mathur correctively said, in Haryana, a lot of measures have been taken against the farmers who are, going against the protocol of what needs to be done in the day of the environment. Guidelines are being issued by the central government. In fact, 2 weeks back only there was a meeting at the PMO vis-a-vis this topic. Further, please also understand there is the whole concept of Bajra, which is the Shri Ann. Measures have been taken by the Food and Agricultural Department and other ministries of how to use these productively and quickly so that there's no scope of this type of burning. While I embrace the Supreme Court today vis-a-vis what it said regarding pollution, because they've seen the larger picture. We've been seeing GRAP 1, GRAP 2, GRAP 3, GRAP 4, but our AQI still stands still at 500 plus, which is more than alarming. We might have 200 good days or whatever number of good days, but unfortunately the circumstances today are rather grave. When it comes to pollution being a state subject, one can guide, one can advise, but one has to take their own action vis-a-vis the state. And I hope every state wakes up to this action before it's too late. This is the first time actually I've seen an Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson, Ms. Mathur, that she is understanding that there is a need of the hour to do something. But I wish this hour had come before the crisis had hit us. Today we are in a state of a sort of a medical emergency from what one hears, vis-a-vis children grappling for air or senior citizens.
This is genuinely not a sort of a medical emergency. This is an emergency.
Yeah, this is a medical emergency. It's an emergency where one is suffocating. So yes, guidelines are issued, options are given, but the person in the states has to take charge. In fact, we don't have an alternative as to how to work for vis-a-vis paradi.
But
so there's a lack of education.
Why do we not have an alternative? Why do we not have an alternative? And what does the centre plan on doing about it? Because it's not just a Delhi problem, it's actually a North India problem.
No, absolutely not. So as I mentioned to you, like for example, for Bajra vis-a-vis, where other states like Assam, Chhattisgarh, Bihar, Karnataka, MP and all, they formulated this farmers producers organization vis-a-vis what? That Shri Ann has to be consumed so that the scope of stubble burning reduces. See, the whole concept is excess gets burnt or non-consumption gets burnt. So that has been incorporated and that was brought up by the Supreme Court today. And I'm sure further action will be taken on it. It requires more monumental force in front. But
Okay.
the point is, it has to stop. And it is unimaginable to stop immediately, but it has to reduce substantially for us to breathe in, in some sort of clear air.
Okay, Justice Birendra Verma, let me begin with the conversation. So I'd just like to understand from you, the court today has said that why don't you put up your local station house officers and make them responsible, put them on parole duties to ensure that there is no stubble burning happening in Punjab. But just a couple of days ago, there was a bizarre report of how an officer of the government was actually forced to burn parali. He went to a couple of farmers, said don't do it, and they quote unquote forced him to burn parali. Is this then not a sort of a gunda raj that is going on as well?
Good evening. Whether I'm audible?
Yes, sir.
Good evening. In fact, I was today inside the courtroom, court number 2, the matter was taken up. Matter was heard for quite a long time. And direction, I may just correct you that in fact the direction is true that the stubble burning should stop as earliest as possible. Of course, some lawyer asked for it should be stopped from today itself. That prayer was not accepted. Now tomorrow the meeting shall be convened. All the chief secretary of the three or four states, for example, Punjab, Haryana, UP, and Delhi, and they are required to take a call upon all these issues. Stubble burning is the main problem, but there are other problems also regarding this air pollution. Stubble burning is not the only problem. And of course, SHO have directed to take care of all these things. They are required to take prompt action. You have said that it is gunda raj. I may not call it a gunda raj, but we are passing through a very hazardous condition. The air pollution situation is very, very bad. Everybody is suffering. Maybe old people, maybe children, maybe young. Everybody is suffering. So therefore, some prompt action required to be taken.
Justice Verma, if everybody is suffering, sir, and I understand why everybody gets, does not want to say that, okay, this is just people doing whatever they want, and there are some people who think that we live in a banana republic, and therefore, but let's call a spade a spade. How many times does a government officer enter the situation and is actually forced into doing something? That's my basic point.
You are right. In fact, the government not required to take action only when the situation comes. The problem arises. In fact, people know about all these things. For last 4 or 5 years, this problem is happening in the month of October, November, December. I don't know why government is sleeping for such a long time. Government should have taken prompt action before the problem had arisen. Therefore, in fact, the court have taken a call. The matter is required to be discussed by all the chief secretaries of 3-4 states. And then, of course, some solution may be there. Some directions are required to be issued by the court.
Okay, all right. Let me bring in Sanjay Nath Singh as well. Sanjay Nath Singh, what do you make of what the courts have said today? And as far as parali burning is concerned, sir, we've been having this conversation for many years now. At least I know I've been having it since 2017. It's now 6 years of me having the same conversation, and we've still not managed to come up with a plan. The courts, in fact, today were discussing incentivizing farmers in Punjab to move away from growing rice altogether, from paddy cultivation altogether. They said that why don't you look at removing the MSP from from paddy. What do you make of this suggestion?
Hi, good evening, everybody. Let me first of all open up my conversation. What I have to say is, first is that I don't think everybody understands the cultural background, the necessity of continuing with this farming in Punjab for whatever reasons, that there has been a historical reason for it. So when Green Revolution was brought in 1964-65, the whole idea was that we grow more food and we grow more wheat. We needed food grains. We were almost shipped to mouth kind of a situation as far as the food grains went. So we experimented in the areas of Punjab and Haryana and some parts of Uttar Pradesh. And that is how this entire belt started producing paddy as well as wheat. Now, having said that, what I would like to suggest is that it's very difficult. It is very, very difficult to change the farmers' habits, or rather how he does the farming now, and what does he grow as a crop. So, and MSP was always there to support him, so it was an easy way out for the farmer. So for so many years, for almost 50 years, they have been doing this. They have been the MSP would come in as a support, so he didn't have to bother much about marketing of his produce. So the farmer would continue to grow paddy as well as wheat, which is well covered by the MSP and infrastructure around it, with so many silos of Food Corporation of India and things like that. So that is one. Now, yes, I agree to the extent that, okay, fine, paddy may not be grown as a crop in areas like Punjab. I agree, because it consumes a lot of water, and Punjab doesn't have too much of supply of water. Fine, but then how do you change it? The best quality of rice is also produced in this area, which is also exported. You cannot stop it. So that is one. So there's a cultural, economic issue also involved over here. So I think the Honorable Supreme Court of India, before passing an order of this nature, should also look into these factors, because you see, no law can be acceptable. No law is acceptable till such time it supports it supports the customs and norms of the society. Now, why do you have the government officials going to monitor that the farm should not be put on fire, and they were made to light the parali over there? It is not Gundaraj. It is just a question. It is going against the culture, the farming culture of that community. So they don't have time beyond 10 to 14 days of time they have to.
Mr. Sanjanath Singh, like I said, since 2017 we've been having these conversations. That's just me personally.
The problem
the problem has been the same. The facts that you're stating have been the same. You're right when you say that there is not enough time, there are no alternative methods that have been developed.
The attitude is that that we are having this problem, so let's raise a voice, let's raise halla about it. But after this, when the AQI becomes normal, everybody will forget about it. Nobody takes action on it. The matter is over, it's gone. Nobody is bothered. Look, what we require is a central regulation, a regulation which will restrict the farmer from burning the parali. Now, it is not, I'm saying restrict, not stop. Restriction being, you put in a clause over there, and this central law should be overriding over the laws of the states also. Then only things will come under control. It's a regional and a national issue. You should restrict it that, okay, only 20% or 25% of the parali can be burnt. The balance has to be plowed back into the soil through mulching or whatever, and a portion of it should be bales should be made out of parali, which can be utilized in other industries. So this kind of a central law will be required. Similar thing was done in California in 91. They came out with a central law, with a law which overrides every other district laws, and the farmers were made to adhere to it.
Okay.
And today this problem has been resolved. That is one. Then you require something like innovative machines, which will also harvest and take away the parali and make them into bales, or do the plowing back of the parali into the soil, which is good for the soil. So these issues have to be dealt with on even after the Parali problem is over.
Okay, all right.
Water.
I'm running out of time. I want to bring in Dr. Abid Amin as well into the conversation. Dr. Amin, I'd just like to understand from you, in the past 10 days or so, if you can tell us what sort of cases are being reported to you as far as pollution is concerned.
Good evening. See, as every one of us has been laid more of emphasis on the respiratory concerns by the air pollution, or as you can say, the stubble burning. If you visit any hospital nowadays in the Delhi NCR or any regions around Haryana, and you will see the ICUs are full of patients with respiratory failure. The patients who have underlying COPDs, who have underlying bronchial asthmas, they are having more frequent and more severe exacerbations as compared to the past. And just coming to the point that we are already 126th on the life expectancy in terms of the number, and if we keep on, if the pollution keeps on rising, if the number of the AQI goes beyond hazardous, the life expectancy is further going to dip because of these untimely deaths. A patient who is having an underlying COPD or bronchial asthma, who can live for more 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, but because of the severity of the air pollution, his exacerbations are becoming severe. He is becoming more sick, and now he's in ICU, he's on a ventilator, and then the chances of death are more. And in addition to these respiratory issues, the number of the patients who come up with the strokes, brain hemorrhages, or the MIs, you can say these heart attacks and all these things, these number of these cases also rise because of the air pollution, because the air pollution, it increases the inflammation in our body, which can in turn lead to many other diseases in addition to the respiratory diseases. It can lead to increase in blood pressure, it can lead to increase in insulin resistance, which can lead to diabetes, worsening of diabetes, and it can also lead to many other fatal diseases like cardiovascular mortalities. And in addition to that, the respiratory failures are worsening, and we are seeing more number of infections, more number of these upper respiratory tract, lower respiratory tract infections in our children. Previously, and the thing that is bothering us, and you are giving cough syrup and you are giving all the medications to the children, and the burden of the medications, the burden of the drugs that is going in the body, that is increasing. As someone rightly said recently, he said, when a guest comes to my house, I sometimes have to think whether to offer him a cup of tea or a spoonful of cough syrup. This is what every one of us is having right now. Every one of us coughing.
Yes.
Apart from only coughing, the medications which we give for the cough, it's not working on us. The cost of medication is increasing, the cost of hospitalization is increasing, the disease burden is increasing, the work output is decreasing, and all these things, it is having a huge burden on our society. On not only the respiratory complaints we are seeing, apart from respiratory complaints, many other things are there which are directly because of the air pollution. And as you can definitely ascertain the air pollution to the topic we are discussing, stubble burning, because every one of agreed to the fact that the majority of the days, 200 days, we are having a good AQI, but then comes these days in October, then comes November, and everything goes south. You have been exercising, you have been taking care of your health from last 200 days. Then there come the days where you cannot do a regular jog. You cannot have a morning walk because it's getting more hazardous than the usual days. Right. So keeping all these things in mind, see, this should be made a national. There were many national programs, national health issues were discussed. This should be made one of the very important national health issue. As you can see, in the past we had an issue with chlorofluorocarbons. We had a hole in ozone, and everyone was freaking out. What to do? Everyone was knowing that after 30 years, 40 years, the hole is going to increase, and because of the UV radiation and all, the number of disease and the number of deaths are going to rise on the larger scale. Then what happened? Everyone joined hands. Every government, every country, even an individual.
Okay.
How did it happen? It happened because of the awareness you increased.
Right.
Every single individual was knowing my body spray is containing a chlorofluorocarbons. I don't have to use it. I have to check what kind of this aerosol it is having. But why not such awareness is done in terms of the air pollution to the common masses? And obviously, I think no one, even the farmer whose father, whose mother is already having a COPD, if he knows he can lose his father, he can lose his mother just because of a stubble burning to increase the number of the money or something like that of that by the stubble burning. But if he knows that because of just this act can cost a life of his loved one, I think he can refrain from that. So I think this is the thing that government needs to come up. That needs to educate in the proper sense that you light a fire anywhere. The stubble burning, if you light a fire for the stubble burning, it might lead to the burning of a light to the pyre of the funeral of someone else in his family or in his neighborhood.
All right, I've completely run out of time, but I thank all of our panelists for joining us to take this conversation forward. It's a very, very serious matter for us to discuss beyond our dinner tables and of course beyond the newsroom as well.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.